So, June is not just Pride Month, it is also Audiobook Appreciation Month. So, what better time to tell you about a queer ALC that I received from Netgalley? I was approved for An Accident of Dragons by Cheri Radke. This is a fun fantasy adventure story with pirates and dragon cults. There is just so much to love about this book. So, we learn of the island Summer, which is guarded by a dragoness also called Summer, and she contracts with a human, Lord Summer, and together they share power to rule the island. However, when Lord Summer dies without an heir, the dragoness gets to choose the new leader, and she picks Teddy, his gay lover. He quickly is forced to marry and sire an heir so that this doesn't happen again. But it's not like a love match, it's more an alliance. Both Teddy and his daughter Zinnia are dragon touched, which means that they have instant telepathic communication with the dragon, along with her knowledge and history of the past. The plot picks up when 5-year-old Zinnia is kidnapped by pirates, and of course, Teddy goes after her, and the story unfolds from there. Although Zinnia is 5, she doesn't act like the typical kid because she's got all of these years of knowledge from the dragon. She very much reminds me of basically a wise dragon in a human body. We also get some backstory into the former Lord Summer, who was called Jack, and Teddy's relationship. There was a mystery over Jack's father's death, which then thrust him into this position quite quickly. I really loved seeing Jack and Teddy's relationship and how it grew over time. Teddy has long been an outsider in this community, and so he is probably the last person the humans would have picked to rule the island. But they don't get to pick. Summer does, and she picked Teddy. People underestimate Teddy because he dresses well. He's a bit of a dandy, and they just don't see him coming. I really enjoyed his relationship with the dragon and just the concept of being dragon touched. And there is some slight humor, not like laugh out loud humor, but like, I see what you did there. That was kind of funny. Additionally, this is very queer positive. This is a queer norm place, and often Lord or Lady Summer, their first sexual encounters were with the same sex because they don't want to accidentally create an heir. I did feel like there were a couple of downsides. Specifically, the ending was a bit disappointing. We got to a part where we thought something drastic or bad was going to happen, and it then was found a new solution just a few pages later. It kind of felt Deus Machina, like, oh, let's just wave that problem away. And that kind of bothered me. The other thing is I feel like the cover is quite misleading. I think looking at this cover, you're thinking, oh, this is probably middle grade, or maybe you think it's cozy. It is not either of those two things. There are scenes of sex and violence, which would be inappropriate for children. And the stakes are pretty high. Like, it's not cozy either. It's still really fun and enjoyable to read, but I feel like I should fix your expectations. So I mentioned I got the audiobook from Netgalley, so let me talk about that specifically. It is narrated by Damien Lynch, and he had a very pleasant British accent. I really enjoyed his narration, and I thought he did a good job. I am going to insert a small snippet to see if you like the narration as well.
The first sign of something afoot was in the fit of my favourite evening jacket. It was not too tight across the belly, mercifully, but rather too tight across the shoulders and even in the arms. Many men would perhaps take a sanguine view of this development, but I confess I found it disconcerting.
Okay. So I think if you like queer fantasy or dragons or adventure stories, you're really going to like this one. I have even more queer audiobook recommendations coming out later on, so make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss any of my videos. So, are you adding An Accident of Dragons to your towering TBR? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining me. Happy reading!